Welcome everybody to Ballers and Briefs, Week 14 DFS and Fantasy Football Outlook.
Let's
We're
go.
back one more time. Fantasy football playoffs in full effect for about 90% of all fantasy football players. So if you're here and you're in the fantasy football playoffs, congratulations. I want to give you a round of applause. Ours doesn't start for 2 more weeks though. It's weird.
Correct.
We're going straight to 18. So, yeah, we are here and appreciate everybody that's here with us. If you're a college football fan and you are in depth in the SEC or waiting on the Big Ten championship to start, good luck to your team and your university. So what's up, fellas? Like, what's going on? Like, how are y'all?
Cold.
Cold? It's cold here in Texas, or
Cold.
at least in South Texas.
Florida code. It's
Yeah,
Florida
Florida
code.
code.
Like 50 degrees, like 57.
I've been putting lights up outside all day, so it's cold. 51.
Yeah, it's 56 here. It's been 56 and raining on and off all day. So it's
I'm
not
sure a
very-
lot of people are laughing at us about that weather.
Yeah.
That weather count and us saying it's cold when the picture literally in front of you is true code. And I got to
that was
spend 4 years up north at Colgate University in Hamilton, New York, which is about 3 or 4 hour drive from Buffalo. Needless to say, right now it's definitely freezing cold there. You know, snow and those are some years, I'll say the least.
Yeah, I grew up in Maryland, so we've had our blizzards, but I'm not used to them no more. So
I'm from
Same.
I am from the South. I am from the South, fully ingrained, and I don't know what snow looks like unless I go somewhere where there's snow. It's ice. It's ice, and that shit sucks. And we don't get that unless it's like the middle of January or something, and then the whole world's coming to an end because no one has the ability or the mindset to be able to drive or operate in such weather. But yeah. So I think we killed it on Thursday, to be totally honest, except for Tim Patrick. I didn't say to play him in your captain spot, but I did tell you to play him. And what's he do? Scored 2 touchdowns.
He broke the slate. I definitely was against him. I definitely even said in the podcast, I'm not playing him.
You went JMO, but I was like, dude, I called him 2 weeks in a row now. I'm like, you probably should have him because his production's gone up. And but I did like that. And my man Monty, first touchdown.
I wasn't sure what Josh Jacobs would do against that front and that defensive unit for Detroit, but to still come up with I think 3 touchdowns, 20 plus fantasy points. That was a little bit more than what I was definitely I would feel comfortable with saying going into the performance. So it's definitely sort of a little bit breakout further, but I felt that at least they had to establish the ground game in order for anything else to work. And I think that definitely was what their thought process was behind the setup for that game.
I mean, there's so many. I before the game started, I was just looking at stuff, and like the Lions have like 14 people on IR out of their front 7. So I was like, this is set up so well for Josh Jacobs to just feast. And I mean, he scores touchdowns. And I needed a touchdown. I worked with a guy on a prop pick, and it was the 36.5 yards to Tucker Kraft and 3.5 to JMO, and JMO got his 3.5 and Tucker Kraft got 36.5, and I thought that was cool, but I needed the touchdown that Tucker Kraft got to go to Watson instead of Kraft. So, but that was the letdown. And then
I think I did mention Kraft though in the last conversations. I believe he had 6 or 7 targets in the last previous games before then. So I figured they would have to get him involved.
I had the captain right. I just didn't have Tim Patrick.
I mean, he was
Kraft.
he ended up having. I think what was the captain ended up being what? Jacobs, yeah. But I mean, Patrick was like 24 points or something like that. You had to have him to
How about fucking Reed getting 0 reception? Kind of crazy.
Didn't even act like he was on the field.
Lost me 2 bets for sure. 2 parlays. The only part that missed was him. Crazy.
And it was funny. It's like they didn't get him involved in it at all.
The question is why? Like, was he open and him not getting the ball, or was he locked down?
I don't know. Terrion Arnold and Brian Branch they're a good defense, like secondary there. So that's what's rough. What's up, Casey? What's up, Brian?
What up, KC? What up, Brian?
KC wants us to come on his show in a couple weeks. So he's like, I need to get a collab down with the Ballers and Briefs boys. So
Nice.
we will work it out one way or the other, KC, to get over there and work with you, buddy. So
I'm 300 an hour.
that's the billable rate. We work on billable hours.
It's the billable rate.
So we can
it goes for you too, Brian. You owe me money because I'm 300 an hour.
This week is weird. Let's do free 99. He said free 99. Maybe you got free, merch. We can do merch whips. No, I was kidding.
Let's do it for the price of on the house.
Right. Yeah. Drinks on the house. Oh, he's down 3 tickets, so tell me.
Yeah, he throws my parlays, dude. He copies my parlays and I lose because of him. He owes me money.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking about this week is like this week is the last bye week of the season. And some of the best teams that people need players out of for fantasy football, and it matters for DFS too, and sports betting too. Like the Ravens, the Texans, the Commanders. Trying to think who else was on there that I saw. But those are the ones that stick out to me the most.
Which is definitely unfortunate for some of the teams that are starting off in the playoffs. I mean, to be down like that, whoa.
That's
the rules you kind of agree to before you started. But man, that's kind of tough.
You're like me that you just said screw week 14's bye week. I'm just going hard and heavy on week 14 bye people and hope to God that it doesn't screw me in the end. So
too bad.
But yeah, we like I said, the games are a little on the lower scoring side tonight, but you'll get it one way or the other. There's some that's kind of moved a little bit since I looked them up earlier. So
got a good slate.
So the first one is the Battle of the Pirates. The Buccaneers and the Raiders.
Like it.
I actually like both of the guys on the screen, though. I'm having this guy, Jacoby Myers, I could see being a league winner for you this week. Like a league winner in fantasy football, because what else did the Raiders have? Like literally, what else did they have?
I think Myers showed up on the injury report. What is the latest designation for him? That was the only thing about that. Because I think he was showing questionable.
So I think that's why he is questionable and he's limited in practice with an ankle, but I think he's gonna play.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, for my sake, he's gonna play because that's what I've got him. But Nate Hobbs, cornerback, is out. Alexander Madison is questionable with that ankle injury, limited in practice. That's what I don't really like at all. Any of the Raiders running backs. Jacoby Myers, of course, and then backup tight end Justin Shorter, doubtful with a back injury, and no Zamir White again with that quad injury. And then for the Bucks, no Mike Edwards, one of their starting safeties. KJ Britt, I think he's depth linebacker, out with an ankle injury. Josh Hayes, a corner, questionable. Troy Hill, out. He's a corner. Bucky Irving, questionable with a hip and a back injury. Trey Palmer's questionable. Another linebacker JJ Russell is questionable. Joe Tryon Shoyinka, he is linebacker questionable, but all these guys were full in practice. So Tyke Smith, safety, questionable. A lot of dudes that were full go in practice, but still on the injury report.
Yeah, I can see this matchup definitely going over the 46.5, just given the fact that both of the defenses are actually ranked sort of bottom 20 in the league. And just looking at the guys on the top of the screens there, actually, with I like your pick, Cody, with Myers actually this weekend versus Bucks, because he's coming off what is 11 and 15 targets in the last 2 games. So it seems
chalk
like
too.
if it's not Bowers, who, of course, I mean, if you're starting him and you're running him out in basically every matchup you can, I think for the rest of the years, because it's either Bowers or Myers in the pass game for the Raiders.
Yeah, I think
both of them the highest.
The real matchup here is the Vegas side. Everybody's looking at the Bucs side naturally, but what's crazy is Myers and Bowers have the highest ownership. Aiden O'Connell's a dog, threw for like 340 yards last week. And I think the Bucs, where is it? Yeah, Bucs allow the second most fantasy points per game to the quarterback. So Aiden O'Connell is the go-to here, but the problem is leverage, right? You gotta find leverage. You can't stack Myers and Bowers and expect to be different just because Aiden O'Connell is only 5% owned. So who was the other Vegas receiver we liked that 1 week? And he didn't do shit. Is he in?
Oh, are you talking about there's DJ Turner and Trey Tucker both?
I think I'm thinking about DJ Turner, but
Trey Tucker, because I think did Tucker have
let me 1 second.
I think he had an okay game. What was it? A few games back, I think.
I'm gonna
just tied up the ball game 16-16 for anybody that cares.
All right, so Trey Tucker, it was on the field 97% of the snaps last week and only got 2% targets.
Yes, but here is the thing. I will give you some little devil's advocate play here. Trey Tucker in back-to-back weeks has had 15.2 fantasy points. This is on DraftKings. And 13.9 points. And he's had a week of 22.6. So, yes, he did only have 1 reception for 1 target for 58 yards and a touchdown. But the week before that, he had 8 targets or 7 receptions on 8 targets for 82 yards and no touchdown.
Well, I think he's the clear leverage because DJ Turner is only getting 22% of the snaps. Trey Tucker is 97. Yep. Dude, that's the most on the team, to be honest. Out of everybody on the team, Myers, everybody, he's on the field more than any of them. So opportunities there, he's just going to have to go and get it. So if you're looking for leverage, I think it's him.
Will Levis.
But last week, Bowers had 40% and Myers had 31%. So we're going to have to figure out a way to get different. I don't think you're going to be able to cut it with that. Right now, they're the highest owned. Myers coming in at 20% and Bowers coming in at 18%.
What's the ownership for Mike Evans tomorrow?
It's up there, 15%. So
because I also like him in this matchup. He's coming off of 12 targets, 118 yards and a touchdown in this last game. I just see that continuing again with the Raiders defense ranking 26 in the league against the pass. I just see them definitely getting aired out a little bit more. Definitely with Bucky Irving, also back injury. Maybe they decided to air it out a little bit more this game than they would have previous ones. And I also like I also like just the matchup as well because of Baker Mayfield. He's had 5 games of 20+ fantasy points this year, so he's definitely been super productive. And again, I just like this matchup overall. Match him with Evans tomorrow. I think it's definitely a good fit.
I feel like that Cade Otton had that great stretch of games where he had double-digit fantasy points like 4 weeks in a row. And then he's kind of slowed down a little bit since Mike Evans has come back. So I feel like it could be the week that he does kind of turn it back around and become the guy that we all we're looking at for weeks because the Raiders are just absolute ass against the tight end.
Yeah, they allow the 4th most fantasy points per game tight end. And Otten's at 10% ownership. He's 5th highest owned, but 10% isn't bad.
Yeah.
Go Saints.
So what's up, Nessa? How you saying go Bucks when you're a Dolphins fan? All right, okay.
How you doing, Nessa?
Let's see.
Is this a Rashad White week? If Bucky Irving,
he's a little injured, isn't he?
Bucky Irving is Rashad White.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's questionable with a back and a hip injury.
Yeah. I'm trying to see Texas, Georgia going to overtime.
I know you're hyped about that.
I am not because we should have won this
y'all were winning?
Yeah.
Y'all were the underdogs. I looked at the spread.
Yeah.
That's
Man,
outrageous.
maybe I should have bet it.
Well, there's tons of people there.
Hopkins and Cortland Sutton, 2 touchdowns against the Raiders. So it looks good for Mike Evans.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it's saying, and Antonio Pierce says Jacoby should be good to go. What about Bucky Irving? Which if Bucky Irving doesn't play, so many people loving him, riding him into the fantasy playoffs too.
If that's White's line right there, Brian, that's fucking insane. I would not bet that. If Bucky plays, dude, that's crazy. That's a crazy high line.
It says he's in line to play is what it says according to ESPN.
I would bet the under on that shit.
Yeah, that's tough for 75 for White then.
Yeah, that's Bucky was feasting, man. He's been feasting. He wants that spot.
I think he's got it. I mean,
Rashad
White in the Millie Maker man last season and has not done absolutely anything.
He is due though. That's the only thing.
No, Brian, he's not. That's what I'm looking at right now. It says that he's in line to play, but the thing is, it scares me even more about this is because I've seen too much Sean Tucker out there as well. The guy that went off against the Saints, and I've seen that dude. I've seen that dude out there too much because they even said, listening to the games, the Gamecast are saying the Buccaneers 3-headed monster or something at the running back position, and I'm like, that's something you never want to hear. Maybe for your team, like if you're a Buccaneers fan, absolutely, that's great that you got 3 serviceable running backs. But as a fantasy player or as a sports bettor or any of those above, you don't want to see them say, "Oh, it's a 3-headed monster in the backfield." Absolutely not, because that's not cool.
Yeah, so. I don't like placing bets when shit's shared. Yeah, dude, that was fucking LeBron James yesterday, dude. I made a basketball lineup just guessing, and I'm going through players, and it's like, oh, LeBron has an re-aggravated ankle injury or some shit. And I'm like, oh, he's not going to do shit. Dude gets 83 fantasy points. Breaks the slate. I'm like, oh, nice, bro. Nice ankle injury.
Yeah.
Fucking lying piece of shit.
Feigning an injury as we are.
Yeah, injury reports be bullshit. I think they do that shit on purpose.
So the limit exposure as well.
Yeah, well, other teams are like, he's dealing with an injury. Let's not focus too much on the rush this week. Let's focus more on the pass. Then the dude comes out running the play every fucking down. Deer antler blood in the ankle. He's ready to go. Nothing's wrong with it. Nothing.
Then you got guys like Christian McCaffrey. He's injured and he plays, and then he's literally really injured and should have never played in the first place.
Yep. And now he's done.
Yeah. Maybe career and all. But in this game, I like Baker though. Like you said, Brad. I like Baker Mayfield here. I mean the Raiders are some not very good against the pass, and he's not high owned. I mean, there's really not a super high owned quarterback tomorrow that out of all of them because of who's playing. There's nobody like, oh, spectacular. Got to have that person in my lineup, you know. No Jaden Daniels, no Lamar Jackson, and people aren't wanting to pay up for like the likes of Jalen Hurts.
Yes, I see. The Buccaneers taking this game tomorrow.
Now, is it going to be like you said? Is it going to be Mike Evans or Cade Otton, or are we going to see like? Is this going to be the week that Sterling Shepard or Jalen McMillan actually do something with their life, or we just
probably
spitballing
and
at
have
it?
any ownership to them? And the guy in the Millie Maker is going to have McMillan and dude, and they're just both going to feast. And
It's going to be like a McMillan and Cade Otton and Baker Mayfield lineup or something like that.
Yeah.
For McMillan, he has had some plays drawn of him for him down the field. So definitely watch out for him. But he's definitely that prototypical boomer bust. So it's a lot of definitely bust, but you will have that sort of boom if you want to kind of get off of the, I think 15% that Evans is commanding. He might be a nice little change up.
I mean, Sterling Shepard has had 7 targets back-to-back weeks. He's got the chemistry of Baker Mayfield, and he runs them shorter routes. He's had 10 fantasy points once this season, but that's not here nor there. But that's just thoughts. I'm not too sure if it's worth throwing 4,000 at him when there's more people at 4,000. I think that are better. What about you? What do you think, Phil?
On what?
Like Sterling Shepard, as I said, he's had back-to-back weeks of 7 targets, and he's 4,000. But I was like, there's probably someone better down at 4,000 that you probably could get better exposure to than
probably McMillan right now, just on the same team. I know Shepard's getting out targeting him, but McMillan is on the field double the amount of time he's on the field. So typically I don't pay too much attention to like target shares on a week by week basis because random shit happens. Pay more attention to who's on the field more because that's the one that's going to have more opportunity moving forward. Yeah. And McMillan is 600 or he's cheaper. 500 cheaper than Shepard. So as of right now, that's a cheap leverage play. I don't remember how much Trey Tucker was from Vegas, but there's another cheap leverage play.
Trey Tucker is 4,600.
Damn, so they got him even more. It's probably because that dude's on the field 97% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why. 100%.
It's almost every play, bro. He's on the field. Anything can happen. And he's a deep
ball threat. And dude he's a very, I think he's actually, I want to say he's even run the ball.
Like a wide receiver screen.
Yeah. Sweet and stuff. Yeah. Yes, he's had. I mean, I would say he gets a touch, like a running play about every other game. So he's had a couple games with like one, and they're not for very much, but they're like one run for 11 yards or one run for 7 yards. You know, it's about every other game. So if they're behind and they're having to play ahead, that's what they're trying to do, you know. So
yeah, this game's definitely got shootout potential. I like the over.
Yep, agree.
And well, it's moved as well. So they're seeing that too. Like Vegas is seeing it because since I made this earlier in the middle of the day, it's moved to 47 now. So they're seeing it as well. So I like that too. But I think the Buccaneers win this year. I think the Buccaneers win that because they need the game. 5.5 points, though. I think it's closer than that because of the way the Raiders just played Kansas City, but they always play Kansas City.
I think they make it much closer.
I think it's a 3-point ball game. So we can go to the next one. This one kind of violates our main rule, 46 points. But the reason why I like it is because the team that's the Eagles is the highest team total on the
rightfully so
on the slate because of this guy, Saquon Barkley, out here just running through people.
This one's got over potential too, though.
Oh yes, yeah, because like you said, it's the brand new Panthers.
Yeah, they're new. They're a whole different look than earlier season. They've been playing good. Probably shown getting it done. The only problem here is I don't think that they can stop the run. And that scares me when betting the over in this. I mean, I probably won't touch the over in this unless I tease it. The reason it has sneaky over potential is because the Eagles could score all of this by themselves. But they could also take their foot off the gas and just run the ball when they get up by 2 scores and milk clock.
I mean, I think they need to win, and they also need points, though. I mean, just because they're trying to look for the number one seed at this point, you know. So obviously, they don't play Detroit, and they don't play. Who else is in the number one? So. Yeah, they don't play Detroit, and I feel like that's the only team that they're looking up at. I mean, obviously, Detroit's 2 games ahead of them, but just for some reason, if Detroit falls off, they need those points, and they also need those points to hold off any other division that possibly could get in a number 2 seed. So, but right now, they're setting as a number 2. But you also don't want your bruiser here, Saquon Barkley, to get hurt.
Correct. I mean, Carolina allows the most fantasy points per game to the running back, so there's that.
He does, Brian. And for anybody that didn't see it, does he get receptions? Yes.
He might not need to, though. That's what I'm saying. This New Carolina could make it close, which they have been, but I don't see them doing that in this game.
With the Eagles having the top 5 ranked defense and almost every category, it almost seems like they're playing really good ball. I like Chuba Hubbard, what he's been able to do over the last couple weeks. He's actually had 4 games of over 20 plus fantasy points, but again, just this matchup just makes it hard to really see how they're going to be as productive, sort of moving the ball. And I like the new Panthers. I like what Young has been doing the last couple weeks. Actually, they're actually middle of the pack in a lot of statistics. But it's hard to sort of find a sort of viable sort of offensive thread. I think Thielen's coming off of 10 targets and 23 fantasy points last week. But again, just the way the defense has been able to shut down that front line with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, so the Eagles are probably going to give them a lot tougher time than some of the teams that they played before.
You're right. 10 targets last week for Adam Thielen, and I want to say I called that. I did call that. That dude, man. How many times, Brad, me and you fought trying to draft that dude against one another for years? I got him this year and you got him last. It was him and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It was every time, but it was always
the target machines.
Yeah,
you know,
just got to get those targets and
I think no Goddard right tomorrow, Cody.
So I can give some injury report here. Sorry, they just concussed our quarterback. By the way, our backup quarterback just got concussed down at the 1-yard line, and Beck is coming back in with his that's already been ruled out. By the way, crazy.
How do they do that? I thought if you ruled him out, they can't come back in.
I think that the team ruled him out, but it's down at the 1 because of concussion, a targeting inside, at the 1-yard line against Texas in overtime. So So here we go. So a little bit of injury news for the Panthers. Jadeveon Clowney, questionable, did not practice. Jalen Coker, their rookie wide receiver, doubtful with a quad injury. It's Caleb Fairley, their corner, questionable with a shoulder. Robert Hunt, their guard, questionable with a back injury. Josie Jewell, linebacker, questionable with a hamstring. Touchdown, Georgia. We are the SEC champions. Jatavion Sanders, tight end, questionable with that neck injury for him landed on top of his head. Nick Scott, safety, questionable. These are all practice. DJ Wanham, linebacker, questionable with a knee injury. Saquon is actually on the injury report, but I think it was just it looks like it doesn't mean anything. It's weird. It's weird. Reed Blankenship, starting safety, out with a concussion. Sidney Brown, their other safety, out with a knee injury. Britton Covey, punt returner and backup wide receiver, out with a neck injury. And no Dallas Goedert, as you said, out with that knee injury. So fire up the Calcaterra train.
Yep, I got a star next time on my paper. Dog.
Just want to say
they allow the most fantasy points per game to the tight end. So, and he's been feasting. Got a little star next to my man Calcaterra.
I actually am checking up Devonta Smith tomorrow.
We get him back.
I know he's had a couple sort of shaky games, but before that, he did have 2 strong performances with 2 touchdowns in those games. I just like this matchup against the Panthers here with no Goddard. I think I see him getting additional workload tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of a sleeper again because he's kind of been a little quiet. But I think it's kind of hard to take away all the weapons there at Philly. But I like Smith tomorrow here in this matchup.
It's finally due. He hasn't had a great game in weeks, and he hasn't played in weeks. So for my own sake, I like that. And he's not. His ownership is way, way down here at like 3%. What's up, Magic? We will answer that question once we get through the full slate. And I mean the Aaron Jones might come.
Got you.
The Aaron Jones question part might come on its own because we're going to specifically talk about that Atlanta and Vikings game. So just hang out with us.
More about the rest of your lineup.
Yeah, like who else you would be? I mean, who else you could move around? Obviously, that's a flex spot that you're trying to put him in. So that'd be great if we could. So, but I don't know. I don't dislike the defense though. Like the Eagles defense. I mean, they're expensive. Are they the most expensive defense? Yeah, they're the most expensive defense, but
Yep.
They're only 3%.
I won't play him at that price because Carolina has been scoring lately. They've been keeping up, making games competitive. I don't think they do in this game, but it's not worth the risk.
But is the Cinderella story wear off this week? That's my only thought. I mean, that I'm afraid of the most. What about Saquon at 9,000? Is he worth the play?
I mean, Carolina allows the most fantasy points per game, so to the running back. So he might be. The problem is I hate buying the most expensive running back because he has to get the most fantasy points.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean he could have a good game, but it doesn't mean he's going to get the most fantasy points. And if he doesn't, that means your lineup can be beat by somebody else's with better value.
Yeah. So at 9,000, what's got to get you to get 36 points?
He could do that.
He had,
but imagine like a
$6,000
running back getting 30, like, and you don't got him. You lose naturally.
Yeah.
The value there, man, it's tough.
Because he had a 33.8 against Washington 46.2 against the Rams, and then 19.7 against Baltimore. So, and
There's
then
chances to shit the bed.
Jalen Hurts is the touchdown vulture as well. So in FanDuel, that's probably that just scares me. Like in FanDuel, for FanDuel purposes, because you're looking for the touchdowns, or at least get it to get more touchdowns, and that touchdown vulture that is Jalen Hurts, which is
That
only
too.
4% owned.
That too. So you got to worry. He needs touchdowns to get you 36 points. So if Jalen's taking him this game, I will never spend 9K on Saquon. I'm keep it real. If I'm mass entering, I'm gonna have a little bit of him because of that. But in single entry, I'm not touching him.
Yeah, definitely not single entry. I don't think you worry about him. I mean,
no.
And
Looking
then
somewhere else.
I don't even think. I mean, you could. He's 19% owned. I imagine that goes up tomorrow, and he's possibly chalk viable. I mean, cash viable. But again, he burns so much. It's like you decide to play him or AK Alvin Kamara for your cash lineup because they're going to take 8,000 and 9,000.
Yeah,
they're the highest too. And
to be honest, I think we haven't gotten there yet, but I think you take Garindo for value in cash lineup. Could probably play him in GPP too, depending, but you could pay up for one of these, him or Kamara in cash, and grab Garindo, and you'd be fine.
Yeah,
but you're still crushing your lineup, spending 9,000, dude. Like
that's a lot.
I'd rather not.
Death to your lineup.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd rather run like Tony Pollard and Garindo.
But Calcaterra again is like 3,500, and he's 2% owned, and that could be the feasting spot for this Eagles team. With Panthers just giving up what they do to the tight end.
A little bit different.
Yeah, but I think I think the Eagles win this. I think that they just pedal to the metal, full throttle, right through Carolina. It's in Philly, and as Casey's boys, his Philadelphia Eagles take this win. So
agreed. I like the Eagles tomorrow.
Eagles.
Yeah. The next game is another one that's kind of lower on the lower scoring side, but I feel like this game has boom potential for the simple fact of the matter is both of these teams are middling right now. Like the Kirk Cousins was like supposed to be the savior of Atlanta, and now he's just been kind of turned into a pumpkin like the last few weeks. But this is total revenge game narrative for him.
Little revenge game narrative in this one.
Definitely
sneaky
to keep his team in the number one spot in the NFC South, and to just ruin it for the Vikings as much as he possibly can.
For sure.
Vikings 25.75 points, and then they're only giving Atlanta 19, not even 20 points. And that's disrespect when I felt like for weeks they were over 20 just because they haven't done anything the last few weeks. Sam Darnold, second highest owned quarterback on a slate.
It's probably because they're at home. And Atlanta's defense sucks.
So for the Falcons, Mike Hughes, starting corner, questionable with a neck injury, but did practice. Jace McMillan, backup, running back, out with a knee, and another defensive tackle, Rook Horo, questionable with the ankle. For the Vikings, Stephon Gilmore. It's kind of old anyway. Andrew DePaulo, long snapper, questionable. So that's a good thing when you're looking at defenses. I mean, a bad long snapper, low snaps, punts and shit like that. It's a hand injury. So Patrick Jones, defensive end, questionable. Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle, questionable, but limited in practice. Their kicker, Will Reichard, questionable. full go though. Dalton Reesner, guard, full go, questionable. And then Andrew Van Ginkel, linebacker or defensive end, questionable with a thigh injury, but was a limited in practice. So a lot of people on there, but nobody specifically out besides Stephon Gilmore.
I think the winning lineup this week is going to be pretty chalky. There's some good spots in some games, man, that you just going to have to eat the chalk, like London in this one. Minnesota giving up the most fantasy points per game to wideouts. Like London should feast here.
I agree. London's had 5 games of double-digit targets, one with 13 in one game, 7 in another game. So they definitely see that Kirk Cousins definitely trying to get London the ball here, and this matchup sets up well with both defense actually being in the bottom 20 in the league against the pass. I think that's why this is a matchup that actually might go over the 45.5, just due to the fact that the defenses are, again, bottom tier. And you have 2 pretty solid quarterbacks on both sides that I think can, again, get to air it out a little bit. So watch out for, of course, Justin Jefferson, but I also like TJ Hawkinson. In the last 2 games, he's had 9 targets and some double-digit fantasy points performances in those games. As a sort of a get-off from your main, he's definitely starting to kind of get that chemistry back since coming off the injury and getting into a chemistry with Sam Darnold.
Let me see. I know London's the second highest owned receiver on the slate. Hawkinson, 4th highest owned tight end. Atlanta's pretty good against the tight end as well, but it's Hawkinson, so I know he can get it done if he needs to.
Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I mean, that's leverage off of London. I'm trying to see how much.
No Stephon Gilmore for
significant leverage, dude. 4% owned.
I mean, he had 6 targets last week. He's on the field quite often. I was just trying to think, like, what are you going to get the leverage off of him?
Pitts is
in, but Pitts is exactly what his last name is. He's the Pitts, man. Like, it's just like dude is just like a pit of hell that you have to revolve yourself in, and it's just
he's low owned.
It could be the week that he does. I mean, we've seen it before.
I would say over on this game, Brian.
Over.
And it's kind of like to what Mr. Magic asked earlier about like Aaron Jones. Like, dude just pisses me off. Like, I play him thinking like he's going to do something, and then he doesn't do shit. And then the week that I don't play him, he does something. So it's like last week, he only had 9 fantasy points because he had 5 attempts. And then the week before that, he had 22 attempts. So it's like, what?
I think last week it was salvaged by a touchdown that came late too. But
the Falcons are 27th against the rush. So I mean, if you're gonna run them out, I think he has Aaron Jones or Keenan. I'm taking that's Keenan Allen, right?
Yeah, I assume that's who it is.
I actually do like Jones over Keenan Allen.
I mean, obviously, I think that's a given.
Yeah, I think just the amount of touches eventually are going to pay off. You said I think that was over 15 plus touches in both of those last matchups for Aaron Jones.
He had 5 attempts in the last game against Arizona, but against Chicago he had 22. The time before that against Tennessee he had 15. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight weeks of over 15 or over 14, attempps. And
eventually that's gonna equate to a pretty good game. That's enough touches.
And then against Chicago had 19.9 points. So yes, and he also gets the target. So he had like 4 targets, like Phil said. That was what salvaged him last week is the targets and the touchdown, but it was only like for 6 freaking yards. So that was the thing. And
Atlanta gives up a pretty good amount of fantasy points though to running back. So I mean, I could see situations where Jefferson or somebody gets them down there, and then it's a handoff, and Jones gets in just because Atlanta's not good against the run.
Yep. I agree.
And I don't. Let me see for DFS purposes. I don't think he's high owned.
No, he's like pretty far down there.
Yeah, he's down there, 6%, dude. So there's some good leverage right there.
What's the ownership on Bijan?
Bijan, 11%. Minnesota's good against the run, though.
But we've also seen that before too. That Minnesota's defense, we said that they were good against the run. They got their ass gashed. So
he's had 6 games of 20+ fantasy points this year. He seems starting to kind of find his stride. Again, with these matchups and both defenses being rough against the run, I actually do like the guy on the screen there. I think he might have another solid game again.
I mean,
they might actually.
The Chargers have a really good run defense, and he put 25.5 on them.
Minnesota allows the third fewest fantasy points per game to the running back. So I don't know what Chargers was. I don't remember, but I'm not saying it can't be done. It can always be done, but just I wouldn't go too heavy with that.
At his price, he's 7,500. He's 7,500, and I think that maybe at 7,500 you could get exposure to somebody, 2 people from the next game that we're going to talk about, the Rams and the Bills, and get off of Bijan,
James Cook, and Kyrie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just because of their matchups are a little bit better than what. Now I'm not saying to don't play him at all, because it's possible that he's their only saving grace. But I do at the same time, like you said, like that Brian Flores defense is blitz, and he's good at run blitzing too. So yeah. I mean, Jordan Addison, what is Jordan Addison looking at too? 7% ownership, like 6.9%. So this is 5,300. They could get better than Jordan Addison possibly too. So, but I think the Vikings win this. I need it for my sake. I'm running out Sam Darnold because of no Jaden Daniels. I need Sam Darnold.
I need Justin Jefferson to bring it on home for the team tomorrow. So I'm definitely gonna give the good vibes to the Vikings. To spoil the Kirk Cousins meeting.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota to cover the spread as well.
Minnesota in the all purple, by the way. So
like the all purple unis.
And the over. I like the over.
I like the over too, man. I don't know. I just feel like this game is gonna hit at least 46.
I think Minnesota wins by a touchdown.
And a touchdown, like a full 7.
Yeah, and that's enough to cover the spread. Yeah. Right? Let me see. Spread. Yeah. Spread 6.5. 6. Oh, yeah. Full 7.
Yeah. There's your answer, Brian.
Over. We going over.
Yeah. So the final game we actually have, I put on a slate. So if you guys got other questions about games we didn't talk about, and then we'll sprinkle in a few other ones, because I have the more I'm sitting here looking at it, it makes me want to talk about another one. So, but this game, I think this game is the one that's got big game potential. I feel like Matthew Stafford plays better in Los Angeles, and he plays better when he's playing a really good team.
I'm going to say the exact opposite, but not because it makes sense, but because it's the only high over under on the second half.
Your afternoon.
Yeah. Afternoon only game with the highest over under is going to be the lowest scoring game. And then you got, like, I know we're not talking about it, but Seattle and Arizona, it's like a total of like 20 points last time they played 2 weeks ago. That's going to be your reverse right there.
I mean, that's the one I was talking about that I like the
yeah, that's going to be your flip. They're going to fucking score mad points. Everybody's going to be all in their afternoon only slates targeting this game, and it's going to be that game that pops off.
Egg is all over everybody on the. I mean that.
That's just my superstition. Don't follow me on that, boys. That's just my superstition. That's not
I agree with you,
paper,
still, at least from the standpoint of the 49.5. I actually see that going under that total. The Bills actually do have a top 10 defense on the other side, which then makes me wonder sort of how those point totals truly going to work out to kind of get to the 49.5. So I just see this playing a little bit under. But also because of the fact that I like James Cook in this matchup as well. He's from a fantasy perspective, he's had I believe 5 games of double-digit fantasy points this year, over 5 games. He's really kind of starting to find his stride. Also in the pass game, they're working him in, which from a PPR perspective, you definitely want to see. I believe the Rams are 19th against the rush, so definitely see them giving up some yards here. And I definitely also see Josh Allen being able to kind of set some things up on the run as well, which again opens up a little bit more room for Cook.
I couldn't agree more. Probably. I don't think, like you said, Bills defense is good. I don't see where the Rams thrive passing the ball here against them. I think it's going to come down to Kyron doing something, if anything. But I think the real focus here is Cook. The Rams allow the 10th most fantasy points per game and the 5th most rush yards per game. And like you said, Cook has been cooking. So if they are successful running the ball on the Rams, they're just going to keep doing it. And it's going to make this game go way under, especially if the Rams don't have success airing it out or scoring. It's going to be like Bills aren't going to be airing it out. They're just going to stick to their game script, running the ball down their throat and scoring that way.
So you got Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid still questionable.
Yeah, Kincaid might play too. That's a big note there because Rams suck against the tight end as well.
It also says Coleman is possible to play as well. But Kincaid, if Kincaid plays, I still like Knox. Just for the simple fact of the matter is Kincaid, like Josh Allen still likes to throw the ball to Knox. Because they never really had them this season together at the same time. And he still gets Knox big ass the ball. So
two tight end set.
Yeah, that 12 personnel is a lot, especially if you're running the ball and he's available. And Knox is a blocker too. So
to me, that's another reason this game goes under, dude. When tight ends thrive, they don't run like crazy deep routes unless they're like Kelsey. So that's another reason it goes under, dude. It's just short digs into them with a tight end, man. 10 here, 8 there, 15 there. Nothing like 30, 40, 50 yards downfield.
Other people for the Rams, they're without no. They thought they were still going to get Tyler Higbee back, but still no Tyler Higbee. Jared Verse, their rookie edge linebacker, is questionable, but he's limited in practice. And then they're without 2 tackles, Alaric Jackson and KT Levinston. So, but that's really it on the injury.
I like
report.
Mac Hollins in this game. If you're playing after only slate, Mac Hollins. Jesus. Because no one's going to be on him.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
He gets the ball and he gets the touchdown. That's a big boy at wide receiver.
This man walks around without no shoes because he says he wants to be grounded to the earth. He literally was walking around in Buffalo the other night with no shoes on in the snow.
He's going to be flat-footed as fuck. And when he stops playing football, he's going to have the worst foot pain ever. It's like that plantar fasciitis. He's going to regret every step of that. Literally every step of that.
The pun intended and everything. But I like him too.
The guy on the screen there, Nakua. Any love for Nakua tomorrow? What is that?
I like him officially more than I like Cup. Yeah. If I'm playing anybody, it's him. Never playing Cup again, dude.
I know that's what you're about to say. It's like
fuck game, dude. fucking banned from all my lines. I played him twice now, and it's all Nakua. Even when Nakua was like injured and he was like coming back, and it was a showdown game, it was a primetime game, and I went Cup because I'm like, they're not gonna, he's coming back injured. Cup's gonna get it, dude. It was the whole game script was him. They might throw that dude the ball 20 times. I was like, all right, I'm never playing Cup again.
But it's gonna be the week that Cup goes off.
I'm just gonna take that out when he goes off now, because other than that, it's majority Nakua.
What's so funny is Nakua does what he does without like a shit ton of targets. I mean, like literally like 8 targets. He had 13 the week prior. Anybody that loves to block more than they like to receive, like this dude does, like he literally says, I love to block people better than I love to catch the ball.
Yeah,
I'm
not
just
me.
like,
But I don't see that neither. I always see him getting the fucking ball.
But if you're not because you're not paying attention to when other people get the ball, this dude's out here trying to just take everybody's freaking head off when he throws blocks. And so our fight people swinging on people.
Another reason why I think this is going to play under the 49-5 is I do still think, even though it's a strong defense on the other side on Buffalo, I still think they're going to try to get Kyren Williams the ball for the Rams tomorrow as well, which again, that run is going to kind of drain the clock, which is going to lead to lower scoring games. I mean, he is coming off a 100-yard rushing yard performance in this last game. He's had over 5 games. Kyren Williams over 19 plus fantasy points. So I'm not sure if he's going to get to that total in this matchup, but I do see a lot of touches going his way if it's going to set up the way I think it is, which will then kind of set up that play action, allow kind of Puka to kind of get off on his routes in the sort of intermediate range of the field. So watch out for Kyren Williams tomorrow.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor had 21 carries for 114 yards against the Bills. So we're everybody wants to put Kyren Williams on that type of pedestal.
Yeah.
So there's the direct comparison. Yeah, there's your direct comparison, right? So I think that's where you got to look if you're riding high with that. And then Derrick Henry had 24 carries for 199 yards and a touchdown against the Bills.
Derrick Henry, though.
I know, but I'm just saying there's people that want to put Kyren Williams in the conversation with that kind of guy. So
I mean, Kyron's good. I don't think he's conversation worthy of that guy yet.
Not right now. Like I like
but even
Kyren.
That guy, like in high school, was the GOAT. Like it's not like he's just the GOAT in NFL. He was a GOAT in high school. He's a GOAT in college, and he's a GOAT in the NFL. You do not compare Kyren to that, even though Kyren is very good.
And I think that I'm gonna tell you this is for this is if you're 150 max in this and you want to get exposure. Look at Blake Corum, dude. Like look at Blake Corum, the backup running back for the Rams, because he's cutting into Kyren Williams' carries every week, more and more and more.
27% last week, 12% on the season.
That's what I'm saying. He's cutting into every time. And if this is a game where they're running the ball consistently, all it takes is Blake Corum down here at 4,200 to get golf 2 touchdowns at inside the 3-yard line, because we've seen Sean McVay do that shit before. Give it, like, you got Kyren Williams out here working. He gets down inside the 10, and he brings in Blake Corum, and Blake Corum gets the touchdowns. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you're looking to put lineups in deeper contests, look at him, because he's cheap. And it's a possibility of taking a touchdown away from Kyren. So, but yeah, I like it. I like that game a lot. I like the running backs a lot in that game. Of course, nobody's on Josh Allen because he's expensive as shit.
Yeah, not going.
Josh Allen actually has only had one game this year where he's thrown over 300 yards passing. I was kind of shocked by that. I didn't realize that. But he still manages to get, because, of course, he has the run game component as well. So from a fantasy football production perspective, he's definitely still getting the double-digit fantasies. But it's interesting that they haven't really. Maybe it's just been to the fact that the receivers have kind of been in and out and kind of working through that this year. But it was interesting from a pass game perspective, which again, what makes me wonder with that 49.5 total.
Yeah. Possibly an interception too. He could throw an interception. He's bad about doing that.
And
what's up, Fresh? It's about time you showed up.
Let's go, Fresh.
You showed up.
What up, Fresh?
You wait to come in as we get through all of the games that we had on the list.
Yeah, I think you could touch base on both the afternoon other games.
Yeah,
Seattle and Arizona and 49ers and
I don't have anything worked up for them, but you got the Seattle and the Arizona at 44.5.
It's just scary. I mean, you're gambling with that one because of how bad it played 2 weeks ago, but 2 weeks ago I thought that was going to be a game that went over and it went way under. So I think here's the chance for it to do that, but don't be like completely shocked if this game is fucking low again because
where's it at? Where's that one at? Is it at Seattle?
Arizona. It's
in Arizona. See, I like that one actually to score a little bit higher.
No 12th man.
No 12th man. You're in the dome. You can definitely see that one going definitely higher than the other side. Watch out for Jackson Smith and Jigba. They've been slowly starting to work. And I know I keep hopefully this is time I call it perfectly. I've called it in the past, and then 3 weeks later, so he goes off. But again, this is a perfect matchup. I could see them definitely trying to air it out to be able to be successful here tomorrow.
I agree. I mean,
my lock. I'm gonna lock this. I'll lock this shit right now. I'll lock it right now.
Is it gonna be Trey McBride?
It's going. I'm telling you. I'll say it one more time. You fucking James Conner, dude. Like he's 88 carries for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is a lock for a touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks.
He's a goat, man. He's been fucking it. He's been fucking everybody up.
The game. So what you were talking about the game before. Because it was in Seattle, is the only game in his history against them that he has not scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he popped off recently too in a tough matchup, and we called that he would pop off.
I think a few weeks back we had got a question about who was a sleeper, and I believe I said one of those names was James Conner because again they're running the ball really effectively this year. The scheme fits perfectly for Conner, and you can see the production in the performances.
I'm not saying 2 touchdowns, Brian. That's a little hasty. I think 1.
That's a little high. 1. I would say 1.
Listen here, Brian.
I would say 1.
Played 2 weeks ago, and the score was 6-16. So we're on the side that this game has potential to be high scoring, but it was literally 6-16. So don't go crazy.
But this game means a lot, like for that division. For sure.
They could just have each other's number too, dude. That's another reason why I could stay way under again. Like they just play each other good, and that's all there is to it.
I'd like to say for the division lead.
Yeah, I'd like to say the opposite, and then there's going to be some scoring tomorrow. Trey McBride had like 28 fantasy points, even though the score was 16-6. So if this game does fucking pop off, it's Trey McBride. That dude was feasting. And I look for him to do it again.
Shift everything to him this time, and then they're afraid, so they take shit out of the box, and that's when James Conner just is totally unleashed and just is gutting their ass every time.
I don't think they could stop it, dude. They went in at halftime and came back out, and they still could not stop McBride. Dude, preparing for it or not, I don't think they can stop it. They're just not. They don't have the weapons. That's the scary part.
Weapons on the outside. You got to decide on which one you want to do. There, what you're going to take away.
Harrison destroy you?
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is only 6% owned. That's why nobody's looking at this. Nobody's looking at this game.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be the Buffalo game in the afternoon that pops
Probably.
off. It's going to be this or
Arizona
the
always does
49ers
pop
game.
off in the afternoon, though. Like they're always
They
a
do.
great afternoon slate play.
And don't forget about 49ers Chicago, dude. Chicago just fucking looked solid against Detroit on Thanksgiving.
They have a different coach now, too.
And 49ers, they got Purdy back. They got everybody except for CMC. So,
And Jordan Mason as well.
well, yeah, no, it's Garindo. So, I mean, but Garindo was solid as fuck recently, even when they were in. So, I don't, man, both of those games I like more than I like the 49.5 on the Bills game. I think if you game stack those on an afternoon only slate, you got a fat chance at winning something big. I think you need players there too on your main slate to win. You're gonna need somebody like Garindo, who's gonna be chalked because of value, but we've seen plenty of times where the value RB is in the Millie Maker lineup just because of the value.
Yeah.
Not because they got their 4x, not because they got their 4x points, but because they opened up money for other players. Nah, I don't like that Miami game at all. That screams low scoring to me.
It just is ugly, fresh.
It screams a little as well.
All Jets games have been fucking atrocious, dude. There's no fantasy value from either side.
You want a thought from the Jets game? It's Braylon Allen. That's about it. Just for the simple fact of the matter is they need to just put down Breece Hall ass on the injured reserve and just let him go. Like, just let him go to the injured reserve.
Let him heal because he's a beast when he's fresh.
I mean, if Braylon Allen that's my piece about the Jets.
That's right. That's what you're supposed to do. I want you copying me, and then we tie. Don't copy me.
It's all right.
I just don't think they are, dude. I don't. Jets D was solid as fuck last week, even though they lost. They had like 6 turnovers on them, dude. Like they just couldn't capitalize on offense. So if they're if they're unable to capitalize on offense, then Miami is not gonna drive it down their throats. Like Miami's not that team. Miami is gonna run the shit out the ball with A-Chain and Mostert if they are in the lead. That's just how they play. No, they were solid last week, dude. They had like 16 fantasy points. They had 6 turnovers, fumbles, interceptions.
This is a division game as well, too. So
that's the only thing. It's a division matchup as well. I mean, they know each other. They're built for each other. I just don't like it.
On offense, I don't like that game.
And as a person that has A-Chain tomorrow, I'm rolling A-Chain tomorrow in the fantasy league, and yet I still don't feel like great about that matchup. It's not. I mean, division, they're solid front. It could work.
And if it hits, Fresh, be the first one that on Wednesday will be the first one to say Fresh was right and we were wrong.
Yeah, I got no problem saying that. And you'll be winning big money because there's not gonna be a lot of people betting on that game.
Nope.
Not for DFS, that's for sure. So if they're popping off, you're gonna be climbing the fucking ladder. All right.
It's all right. It's all right.
So we were just giving opinions.
Yeah.
I know. It's okay. I mean, different opinions are allowed, Fresh. If I agreed with you every week and you agreed with me every week, something's wrong if we're both losing. Somebody got to be winning. That's just not my game. I'm focusing tomorrow. Don't mean that you ain't going to win.
Miami's 25
I don't
points.
even know what game I'm focusing tomorrow yet, dude. It's tough, dude, because the one I liked was the Raiders, and they're the highest ownership. So it's clear that what I like, everybody else likes, and therefore I can't play that. And that's not how I play. I mean, I could play that, but
I'm wondering if we all sleeping right now, and it's gonna be that Cleveland and Pittsburgh game again. Fucking Jameis Winston out here chucking and ducking, and that's what's gonna be.
That's for sure. He's gonna throw that fucking ball. And Wilson's gonna throw it. I called Wilson's last week, and he was getting it.
He's starting to throw it a little bit more. They're starting to unleash Russ. Watch out for that one. That was sneaky. But I would even say that it seems simple, but maybe sometimes that's the best way forward is that Carolina and the Eagles matchup. You know, if you do kind of put a good deal of stock there, maybe catch one on the bit. Maybe Thielen does go off on the other side. See what you have.
Yeah, Winston for 253 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, probably. So, I just know that the Steelers' defense is stingy, man. They don't give up a whole lot. As much as I like Winston for airing it out and that game having sneaky potential, Steelers just are stingy, man. They don't give up a whole lot. So, I don't see Winston throwing 3 touchdowns, but it could happen, dude. Like, it definitely could happen. It's Winston, bro. He's gonna throw that fucking ball whether it's a pick or not. He throws 4 interceptions. He's gonna probably throw 3 or 4 touchdowns with it because that's just who he is. So
yeah,
and that's why I did not like him on the Saints when we grabbed him because he did that shit in Tampa and then he did the same shit for the Saints. And I'm over here screaming, man, start Taysom Hill. Like, dude's an athlete. Let him run, let him throw, let him just take over the offense.
I know we talked about the Chicago and 49ers. George Kittle one more time. He's only 5,800.
Yeah, that game, dude, that's got some good potential too.
If you need a tight end tomorrow, watch out for Evan Ingram against the Tennessee Titans. Now, I know it's Mac Jones, and I know it's not necessarily the quarterback. It's from the sense that every time it seems that Evan Ingram plays the Tennessee Titans, he actually has a really good game. I think he had 11 targets in the last game. If you kind of need a tight end, I think, Andrews is out this week with the Ravens. If you need a guy who might actually get probably over at least 5 targets tomorrow, probably get you a decent game, watch out for Evan Ingram.
Dude, that's funny you talk about that game because that's the one I'm eyeing for fantasy tomorrow, and it's from the Tennessee side. I'm not going to the Jags side.
Oh, I know you aren't, but I can see you going on the other side.
Tony Pollard
the
matchup
is there.
Pollard and Lee Levis, they allow the most fantasy points per game to the quarterback and the running back.
Really might be wanting some revenge in that. So if you kind of seeing that,
Nick Westbrook and Keenan gonna
of course, right? I think they said he's only had like 20 catches, but 8 of them have been touchdowns or something like really weird. It's like the craziest, like,
yeah, Ridley, dude, you nailed it with Ridley. Jacksonville allows the 3rd most fantasy points per game to the wide receivers, and it's a revenge game. So Levis has looked good. I keep wanting to call him Levi's, but Levis has looked good.
The Mayo guy is what I call him.
The scares me is they got that at
Mayo commercials.
A 40-point over-under scares me, right? Because it could play out to that Mac Jones in there and them running the ball with Pollard and having success of him running the ball. It scares me, but like that's the one that I've been eyeing the most, at least from a DFS perspective, where I could get some leverage and a potential for a big game. Because I think even when Mac Jones was in there recently, I thought they were going to get blown out by somebody, and he did good. It was
last
actually
week against Houston. He actually,
I
think he scored 2 touchdowns, didn't he? Or I know BTJ got one.
I was like, okay, there's a little bit of hope in there. Caught touchdowns from him on the flag football field, and now he's in the big leagues, throwing people's games. So that's the one I'm looking at, though, at least right now, for like leverage, getting different, trying to find some way to separate myself from the field.
But I know that we had that question earlier, like I said, from Magic here. It was like he said Aaron Jones or Keenan Allen. He didn't give us any other information, but from there it looks like you should go Aaron Jones, just sight unseen. Keenan Allen he's okay. I mean, I feel like Caleb Williams is picking up with him as of recently, but not it really depends on what you got, man. Like, really,
I just like the amount of. I know that the week before he didn't get a lot of touches, but I mean, the average he's getting at least 15 touches, Aaron Jones. So that usually equates to good performance eventually down the road. I think he's going against the Falcons, right? I just like that matchup. against that run defense.
I think that it's possible that DJ Moore doesn't play tomorrow. So it says he's likely to play. It's likely he's likely to play, is what it says. But it could be that could all change in the afternoon. But that's the thing. I don't like waiting till the afternoon to put a guy because like you're waiting on it and you're really basing off of that. So not that you have DJ Moore, but you're basing your Keenan Allen going off on DJ Moore being either not there or partially existent. So that's really it, man.
It's like they saw me.
Yeah, eyes on him. But if anybody else got questions, we'll answer.
Maybe some sneaky love in the Saints game too.
I like the Giants side of that.
If I play anybody,
Robinson,
it's going to be Valdez-Scantling. He gets the long ball touchdown every time, and the dude's like a $4,000 receiver. It's one play, and he's value, literally.
I also like Wan'Dale Robinson. I
like Wan'Dale. I agree with that.
The gimmick is there. They got to do something.
And Neighbors. We don't have Lattimore no more, dude. Who's gonna cover Neighbors?
Yeah,
like that game. It also has some like it's super low.
But he didn't practice. Like, that's the thing is Malik Neighbors did not practice on Friday.
But he's still only questionable.
And it's a damn hip injury. It's a hip issue unrelated to the groin injury he's dealt with most of the season. So,
did he practice before that?
It says limited in practice on Thursday. So look, 90 minutes before.
Yeah.
But I still like Wan'Dale there too.
That might be a good matchup.
I mean, there's also on the flip side of that coin, Saints defense. They haven't been bad, but the problem is when they haven't been bad, they had Lattimore. He was making plays.
I agree, Ghost.
That's not a bad play. We talked about that. We said
we talked about that one. Yep.
He's good.
With no Goddard tomorrow.
Goddard.
They gotta turn that workload over to someone.
And to get him lathered up, if you will, kind of heading into the games because he's been so out of the loop for the last few weeks. And people, like I said, people that are depending on him in fantasy, I like that as well. That's not a bad take.
There's no way Carolina covers AJ Brown and Smith and Saquon lines Barkley up for Saquon. Like there's just no way, dude. It's just not gonna happen. There's gonna be some eating in that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Pitts or Fry? Yo, give me Pitts.
Didn't Freiermuth just score last week or the week
we had
before?
Him too. We called him.
I think,
too.
Or didn't? Wasn't
we
it?
Called him, and it was a good matchup. He showed up.
But they're playing against the Browns.
Yeah,
and then with Pitts versus
sneaky Pitts,
smelly Pitts,
shitty Pitts, because he's been shit.
I got the love for the Gators, and so I want to say Pitts here, but the performances don't give me enough good feeling to want to definitely stamp the name on it. I think Freiermuth is coming off of a really good performance, but he's only gets a handful of targets as well. So I'm going to lean with the Gator. I'm going to go with the Gator and go Pitts.
Let's see.
7 targets last week, 68 and a touchdown against Cincinnati. Against Cleveland, he went 4 for 4 for 59 the week prior.
He scored 9.9 PPR fantasy points in 3 of the past 4 weeks. And Cleveland allowed top 16 tight end finish over 4 of the last 5 games. So Freiermuth looks good too. I think Pitts is the contrarian play. Like I don't know if you're sports betting, you're a sports better, so maybe Freiermuth, but if you're doing fantasy, Pitts is probably the sneaky play. Sneaky.
Yeah, because
the
Freiermuth at
Twitch
3.
play.
Actually, yeah, they're roughly around the same amount of ownership, like 3%. Freiermuth 3.1 and Kyle Pitts 2.5. Kyle Pitts costs more than Freiermuth.
Is this fantasy or sports bet, Brian? Because Myers is high owned, so probably not him. D. Smith over Judy.
I like all three of them, man.
Okonkwo. Ooh.
Chig is that's a nice pool too. Because the Jags are duty holes against the tight end as well.
Yeah, and that goes into my Levis play. I like that.
2.7%. Oh, he's saying fantasy. Oh, for
you just being sneaky, dude.
I mean, who else do you? Okay, Brian. Damn it! Now I need to know who else is on fantasy. Who else is on your team if you have Devontae?
He's probably doing DFS.
No, he don't do fantasy. Judy
yeah,
and
DFS.
Winston.
If you got
He's
to
making
stack
a lineup on DraftKings as we speak, I think. Yeah, see.
Oh, this is my first time fantasy.
He has sports better.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So that's why he got all these people. He's riding off. He's grabbing them off the show off of who we like. So Myers is high owned. Our motto is get different. I wouldn't play Myers.
Yes.
So D. Smith or Judy. I think D. Smith has the better matchup.
Judy's 15% owned.
I like Okonkwo, like dude said too, though. I like that sneaky. What's the ownership on the Chig?
2.7%.
Oh, yeah, dude.
At 3,000.
That's a stack right there. Levis, Pollard, Chig, or even Levis, Ridley, Chig. And you want to be super crazy, just throw Pollard in there too, and we got yourself.
I'm gonna go. I'd be super crazy and go freaking Chig, Levis, Nick Westbrook, Akine. That's fucking nuts. That's like
that's a millie maker type right shit. That's the millie win right there, and everybody's like, "Who the fuck plays that?" We do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been killing it. If you have Winston to stack it, then definitely go with Judy.
Yeah, he's making a lineup as we speak. So
you got to
play Winston and with Judy. Then I don't think you could play Judy without Winston. Like if Judy has a great game, dude, it's Winston's having phenomenal game.
I don't know. You could, but I doubt it.
You're just missing out. I mean, you probably could, but you're missing out on good fantasy points.
Because if you're playing Winston at 5,400 and you pair him with Judy, you have so much to play with money wise. Like you're stacking the shit out of that lineup elsewhere.
Yep, you can get some big hitters in there. I mean, you can bring it back with George Pickens too, who has a solid matchup in that same game.
Do you have to double stack Winston though? I think you double stack him with Njoku or Elijah Moore,
but I don't think you have to.
That he carries value enough.
Yeah, I think he's the type that he could spread the ball around enough in touchdown to Elijah, touchdown to Njoku, 2 to Judy. A dude's thrown 4 touchdowns. He's in the nuts, and Judy's in there too because he got 2.
I mean, he only had 13.5 fantasy points against Pittsburgh, so temper your expectations with.
I tried telling you, Pittsburgh is stingy on defense. Dude. They did not allow a lot.
Jameis goes. He has a 25-point game, then he has a 10-point game, and then he has a 26-point game, and then he has a 13 game, and then he has a 33 game, and then this week is he come back down to earth again. So
yeah, I mean, and it's a division rival if you don't know that, Brian. So be careful. Typically know how to play each other better when they're rivals.
Yep.
As far as defenses that I like tomorrow, I like the Saints tomorrow. I like Tennessee's defense tomorrow. I like Who else on here? I like Eagles defense tomorrow. And I like Buffalo's defense tomorrow for a contrarian one.
Let's see. Damn, no. I was going to say 49ers, but they don't get Nick Bosa back. That sucks. I know Drake Greenlaw.
Dude, Saints defense is 22% owned. I haven't seen a defense this high owned in like forever. Usually it's kind of
Everyone's on that matchup.
It's because it's what it is, man.
Steelers are the second highest on defense, if that tells you anything about Cleveland. So Titans are the third highest on defense, if it tells you anything about the Jags and Mac Jones.
Well, unfortunately, myself, I have to run the damn Bears defense out against the freaking 49ers, and I have no choice because there's nothing left on the fucking waiver wire.
There's no defenses in there?
It's like the fucking Bengals against...
You might want to bench your defense and not play it. They got a risk of getting
might be the better strategy.
Yeah. But I'm betting on this team just being sleep tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe get a sack or two with no Trent Williams.
Garindo fumbles because he's not used to the heavy workload.
Or it's not Garindo that they're running. So they bring in a backup like a backup for Garindo because Garindo needs to come out and
that guy fucks up.
Or Purdy throws an interception or two because their defense is actually decent and they're playing different with the new coach. No, these teams come out and play different. When they unload a coach, these teams come out and play different. So since there's no Eberflus is gone, this team could be a different team tomorrow, and we've seen that. And so that's my only thing. I'm not playing them in DFS because I'm not shipping it, but in the season long because I have no other choice. But anyways, well, if nobody else has got questions, appreciate the questions from Ghost and B Rye and Mr. Magic.
Appreciate all the viewers, the love, the support.
Always.
Once again, I did just giving our opinions. Y'all rock with them.
Necessary.
I put my bets in like last minute because I always procrastinate. There's no strategy behind it. I just end up bullshitting and I'm like, oh, I gotta put my bets in. Then I'm just clicking shit last minute. I'm like, oh, I like this guy, I like this. And then I hit. So I would keep rocking with that until it fails.
Nessa, just let me know when you get your shirt. I sent it out yesterday, so it should be there on Monday. Should be. That's what I had made sure it was for Monday. So
pure luck, dude. My sports betting is pure luck. I've been killing it this year though, but let's not talk about prior years.
Well, yeah, it's when it was basically illegal and frowned upon, or frowned.
Yeah,
it's not illegal.
And
frowned
bookie
upon
in a whole nother state, just losing, just sending this dude weekly checks or cash apps. Here you go. It's another 500. It's another 800. Just buying this guy all kinds of stuff.
People here
see him on vacation. I paid for.
People here just drive to Louisiana, like they just drive across the state line, open up their app, like Mattress Mac. Mattress Mac, that's what he does. He drives across the state line, pulls up his.
He's the notorious big better.
That's crazy.
That's the whale better right there, Mattress Mac.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, he does it. So, but we appreciate everybody, and we
thank
will
y'all.
Catch y'all later on. Let us know if you got questions. Put them in the chat or put them in social media, and we'll answer them for you before tomorrow. And then if you have thoughts about tomorrow night's game, which is Kansas City and the Chargers, which could pop off, put them send them to us too. So we'll answer them for you. All right, y'all. We appreciate it, and we will see y'all later on.
Adios.
Later.